Alright, hello, my name is Malik Shaw, class VRT 232. This is the theories assignment, theories and ethnics assignment. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over the brunt of them all three: Maslow's hierarchy, cognitive dissonance theory, and the attribution theory. And I will be using these questions or statements for some of them to answer it. So we'll start with the first one, which was the Maslow's hierarchy. Okay, so what is the theory? The theory of Maslow's hierarchy is that we have needs. Our needs can be separated into 5 categories. Each category kind of superseding the other. I don't want to say supersede. Each category kind of, like a pyramid, is followed by the other. So the base of the pyramid is the most important up until the top. And the very tippity top is where not the worst or like the most unnecessary, but the one that is not absolutely required for the rest of them to function. So in this case, So in this case, the one at the top is self-awareness. So that's the theory. Just cut it there. So that is the theory, that we have a set of needs, and that the set of needs have to be provided from the bottom to the top. You can't start from top to bottom, because if you aren't feeding yourself, which the first need is, physiological needs, so your food, your water, your sleep, bathroom breaks, stuff like that. So if you're not feeding yourself, if you're not eating, if you're not sleeping, you really can't worry about self-awareness, because you're not actually taking care of yourself enough to even for that to even matter. I'm forgetting the word. Your self-esteem, your self-esteem doesn't matter if you're not feeding yourself. Your safety, that doesn't matter if you're not feeding yourself. So those things is kind of how that works. So how you apply that to how to apply that theory for behavior modification, what I would do is, I'll use my example with the working out app, the gym. So if I wanted to design an app that made people work out, the way that you could use this is to target the self-esteem. A lot of the times when it comes to the way you look, that's targeting your self-esteem. If you look down right now, not saying anyone in particular, just to clarify, I'll use myself as an example. If I look down right now and I see myself with a gut, I have a decently sized gut, and it's like winter time, I'm like, man, I don't look the greatest. Summertime's about to come up. I really want to get in shape so that when I go out to the pool, or especially living in Arizona, when I go out to the pool or the beach, not Arizona, but assuming there was a beach nearby, let's say I went to California, I want to look good. I want to be able to take off my shirt and not feel ugly and fat and all this other stuff. And so I designed an app that helps you work out, helps you budget your meals, helps you eat properly, helps you work out properly, and all this other stuff. And so this app is modifying your behavior, because now it's feeding into that one need that you need one of those needs. It's feeding into that self-esteem. It's the same as if I designed an app that kept all of your passwords safe, all of your keys and PIN codes, and that could only be opened by you and all this other stuff. That app would be providing you safety, and that would feed that other need. In this case, I'm talking about the gym. And so this app will provide you with that self-esteem boost. Like, yes, I'm gonna start doing this, and then maybe I have an avatar that kind of shows your progress, and your avatar is looking like it's getting in shape, and so you feel like you're looking in shape, or getting to look like you're getting in shape, and so you go working out, and you're really hitting it hard, and so like that's how you can do it. At least theoretically, that's how you would do that. So you would apply that theory to behavior modification. You would just target, not hard target, because you can focus on multiple. You target one of the pillars, or the forget what it's called in the hierarchy, but target one of the hierarchies, I guess, and kind of focus on it, and design your app or your toy or your whatever it is game to that, and targeting that and getting that is how you reel in more people, and which will bleed into our ethnical concerns associated with this theory. So self-esteem is a really big thing nowadays. a majority of the population, if you ask a lot of people, people would say, yes, people are getting softer. I guess if you ask a lot of, I'm gonna like insult it. When you ask a lot of older people, you would hear like people are getting softer, and people aren't really taking things hard, and all this other stuff. People are taking things hard, and all this other stuff. And so, being able to focus one of those needs, so in this case, self-esteem, which I think is a really strong one, focusing that one, it could be a concern for people because if, for example, well, for all intents and purposes, if I had a really bad self-esteem and I was 100 pounds overweight and someone said, yo, this app helped me get in shape, it really helped. It really helped because it has an avatar that, kind of shows your progress on the stuff, and download the app. And to see the avatars getting in shape as I'm getting in shape, it really boosts my self-esteem because I'm thinking to myself, yes, this is it. I want to look like that. And he's looking like me because this is showing what I've done. Even if I'm not actually doing the workout, even if I'm strapping the strap to my dog and it's running off, it makes me feel good because I know that the work and the progress that's happening is due to me. Now, like I said, as long as you're actually doing it, it's a little different, but not getting into that. So that's how I would associate that, because people would feel like they're being used, not used in the sense of like making me pay more money, but used in the sense that like they're being manipulated. And then you can associate this or not associate this. You can apply like money grabbing tactics by making the avatar maybe take longer or take longer to represent what the person actually looks like, or making them pay for that feature, things along that nature, letting them using it for a bit and then stripping it away after like a month of use or a week of use so that they can see it, but then they don't have it anymore, so if they wanted to buy it. So there's ways to monetize it as well. But I think that's how that would be the ethical concern, because you're manipulating people. And like I said, not in the sense of making them buy stuff, but in the sense of making them feel, in the case of the gym, their self-esteem, in the sense of like the app with all the locks, safety. You're using their core emotions that really play with who they are as a person. Okay, so skip over to the next theory, which is cognitive dissonance theory. Sorry, I had to burp real quick. So, cognitive dissonance theory is it's a weird one because it's like a true and a false kind of put together. So, it's when your beliefs kind of contradict your actions, I guess, so to speak. So, in the case, I'll use a quick example to kind of explain what I'm saying. So, I know smoking is bad, but I like smoking. But I'm not bad for smoking because I'm smoking because it helps me relieve stress, but I know still smoking is bad. And that's like that dissonance there. That's that disconnect, so to speak. That is lying is bad. People who lie are bad, but I'm gonna lie. But that doesn't make me bad, because like it's that thing. It's where like you're trying to rationalize the things you do because they kind of contradict each other. And so that's that cognitive dissonance, that disconnect is what I'm going to call it, I guess. And so that's what that theory, let me scroll down, excuse me. That's what that theory is all about, that whole thought process. And how you would apply it to behavior modification. You can do it with treats, I guess. So you can do it like trying to rationalize the things they're doing. So, well, not treats in particular, but people probably done it with treats like, oh, this has low calories, and so it's good for you to eat, when in fact it has high sugar, it's bad for your cholesterol, and all that sort of stuff. But because the snack is offering it to you in such a way, you think to yourself, well, it can't be that bad because it says it's got this stuff, but it's bad because it is that. And anyway, so like Diet Coke can't be bad because it's diet, and I'm on a diet, right? And when in fact it is still bad for you, but you're playing it off like it isn't, because it's telling you what it's telling you. Coke is bad. Diet Coke isn't bad because it's diet, but it's still Coke, and Coke is bad. And so it's that whole, how do I say it? It's that whole disconnect there. You're trying to rationalize the things you're doing here because you know that they're bad, but you're trying to make sure that you don't think it's bad. Because if you believe it's not bad, then it works out for you. And that's kind of how that works. So you like, what people typically do is they ignore the information, or they deny it. They kind of just play it off like it's not a real thing. Some people actually change and they justify, or they change their behavior in order to react to such things. So like, oh yes, Diet Coke is bad for me. I'm not going to drink it. But that is not everyone. So the ethical concerns kind of associated with this theory kind of goes back to what I said with the Diet Coke. People trying to rationalize their bad behaviors or rationalize their behavior in general, especially if it's not a good one. So, justifying their behavior, if it's new, or excuse me, not if it's new, if it's a good thing, it's fine, right? Like, smoking is bad, I'm not going to smoke, so I'm not going to smoke. And, you solve that problem in your head. But not everyone gets to that. Some people say smoking is bad, but this dude looks cool, so I'm going to smoke. But I know smoking is bad. But I'm not just smoking because I'm bad at smoking, because I want to look cool. But smoking is still bad. And so, using that thought process, you can see like where the ethical problems are, because it's like, hey, this is bad. We know this is bad for you, but we're still going to sell it to you like it's good, because we want to make money. In our case, by say our case, I mean like company's case, because I don't make cigarettes, or foods, certain foods. Like, oh, Diet Coke is not good for you. By no means is it good for you. It's still Coca-Cola, but we're going to sell it to you and act as though it is good, and you're going to buy it because you're going to play this cognitive dissonance game in your head where it's like, it's not bad because this one is diet, although Coke is bad, but I'm going to drink it because I know that I'm drinking because I've worked for this and it's still my diet, and it still fits into my diet or whatever. And so that's where the ethical concerns would be, at least for me. The whole rationalizing of, I'm going to say, bad habits or things or objects. And then let's go to the next one. This one doesn't bleed over as well as the other one did, but attribution theory. We get right into that. So it's kind of what it says. You attribute the things that happen to others or yourself. So, and there's some internal. So the two are the internal and external to the theory. So you're trying to explain away. The general theory is that you're trying to explain away your the things, the behaviors, the mental state of others. Sorry, I thought I saw something. Mental state of others by creating your own little theories, essentially, or mini theories. So a good example, or a decent example, is I am an angry person and I play video games. I play video games. I get angry. I hit a wall. It's my fault because I'm an angry person, and vice versa. If I get angry, so that's the internal. And then if I get angry, punch the wall, it's the game that made me angry. It wasn't my fault that I'm an angry person. It was the game that made me angry. So it's the game's fault. So maybe like in this case, the game is unbalanced, and so I'm blaming it on the game, the external factor, when maybe it's an internal thing. I'm just not good at the game. Maybe I'm just bad at Pac-Man. And so that's attribution theory. I keep forgetting to scroll down. So how can we apply this to behavior modification? So a lot of games, or arcade games, kind of work around this. Typically, arcade games, I don't know nowadays, but typically they were made in the way that it would take several tries before you beat it. So what you typically hear is this game, let's say Pac-Man, it's super hard. It's really hard. I guess there's probably a different one that has more of a like a stage for it and not anything that's AI related. So let's say, forget the name of the game. Contra, I think it's called. Contra. It's just a set out stage. The stage is laid out. It happens the game plays out the same way every time. And so, let's say I'm playing the game and I'm doing really bad. I'm gonna say, if I'm not realizing or doing any self or internal attributions here, I'm doing external. The game is bad. It's unbalanced. As I slowly get better, I'll maybe attribute it to me being better gamer than it is the game literally being the exact same every single time, and I'm just following a pattern at this point. And so that's kind of how you can apply that to behavior modification with gaming, at least, where you're like, hey, I'm gonna make this game, and this game is gonna kind of be really hard in the beginning, but it's slowly gonna you're slowly gonna do better because the game isn't really hard, it's just new, and so you're not used to playing it, and so you're gonna blame it on the game originally. It's kind of like Dark Souls. The first time you play Dark Souls, or when people play Dark Souls, if they play it long enough, the first time they play it, they're all like, oh, it's so hard, it's a difficult game, and they're externally blaming the game. The game is hard, it's the game's fault, the game's unbalanced. And then when they start getting good at it, oh, I'm just a master of the game. I'm a pro gamer. When in reality, the game relies on tricking you, and once that trick works, it's done. That's it, and that's how a good game they use for the behavior modification, Dark Souls. That's how they kind of use it. It's like, yeah, the game is hard, quotation marks, but it's only really hard because you don't know it. Knowledge is power in this situation, and because you don't have the knowledge, the game is hard. The moment you learn about that trick, the moment you learn about the boulder that's going to roll down the hill and hit you, the moment you learn about the chest that's not actually a chest, you don't make those mistakes, therefore the game gets easier, quotation marks, when in reality it's just you being a smarter player. So the game's not actually getting any easier. And so the ethical concerns with this one is it's kind of twofold. So people get this, where is it? People get the idea that video games make you violent, or violent games, violent video games make you violent, or some people just think it's all video games. When this right here is attribution theory, like playing itself out. When the mother of some son says, "Hey, this video game is making him violent," she's externally blaming the game for the problem and not the internal source, which could just be her son. Maybe her son is a violent person and she never noticed it until he started playing video games, which he was outwardly expressing himself. And so this attribution theory, it works out throughout all of society, and it's still happening as we speak. And video games is actually a really good example, because a lot of people got all up in arms about video games when they first came out, saying they're violent, especially Mortal Kombat, like, oh, this is going to teach our kids to kill, they're going to be doing school shootings, this is the reason there are school shootings. When in reality, they're not looking at the internal problem, which could just be those children, maybe the lack of attention from the parents, maybe the lack of attention from the schooling system, or the neighborhood, the community to that person. And so with this one, the ethical concern for this one is people just are quick to blame. They're quick to place blame on others and not themselves. And so this happens, this attribution theory, is where that would be a problem, because everyone being so quick to blame, they're not actually giving thought to what actually could be the problem. And they're not actually giving thought to what actually could help solve said problem, because they're not actually looking at the problem, but they're looking past the problem and onto anything that could be blamed for said problem, and not just what is actually causing said problem. And so for this one, that's what I would say the ethical concern is. Don't want to go too long, so that covers all three of the theories. Just really quickly, of all of them, I like to think attribution theory and or Maslow's hierarchy, attribution theory, and then cognitive dissonance would be the order in which I would use any of these theories, because the Maslow's hierarchy is just, I say superior, I'm going to put quotations around that, because it kind of goes over the natural needs of a person, and targeting those is probably the best way for you to get anyone's engagement. And so that's what I believe would be the best way to go about, forget the word, applying some behavioral modifications. Ethnically, obviously, I don't want anyone to go off and rule the world by using some of these theories to just start mind controlling people, not literally but figuratively, mind controlling people, making them do what they don't want to do or do what they want them to do. But I do think that Maslow's hierarchy is probably the best of all the three that I talked about, followed by attribution theory, and then cognitive dissonance. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.